What's up, everybody? It's Cool Imp, Justin, asshole, blah, blah, blah. I can't keep doing that long-ass intro. We're going to talk about remakes. Well, I'm going to talk about remakes, but you understand the general idea. So, this is all coming up because a new trailer for the remake for It, the third trailer, has been released. They've done some touch-ups, like adding eyes to the reflections in the water, things like that. And I'm going to say something. Remakes are fun. They can be. Take a look at Judge Dredd. Judge Dredd was, lack of better phrasing, a horrible movie that people love to hate and enjoy. I happen to like Judge Dredd. It's a guilty pleasure. But Dredd was just flat out badass. So, I mentioned that one because it is the only movie I can think of off of the top of my currently thinking mind of a remake that really worked. Take like House on Haunted Hill or whatever it was called. The one with Catherine Zeta-Jones and Liam Neeson and that cast. Which was a remake. Look at how bad that movie really is compared to the original. Karate Kid. Jaden, if you ever should happen to see this, you are entirely flying on your father's coattails right now, and you need to accept that early. So, the question becomes, can remakes be good? And the answer, of course, is yes. It depends on how you do it. However, when you're dealing with certain types, and I'm going to say, you should never remake a horror movie. My Bloody Valentine was shitty compared to the original. I went back, I haven't watched the new Jason, but I went back and rewatched the original Freddy, original Nightmare, compared it to the new Nightmare. And I'm going to give credit where credit's due. It was either like the Nostalgic Critic or Phalis or someone like that. Someone who was or still is on Channel Awesome. It might have been, oh, it's that Hispanic guy. I can't remember his name. I'll look it up. Maybe. I don't know how to put an annotation on a video. But nonetheless, the Blockbuster Buster. That's it. So, in cases like this, especially with horror movies, going back and redoing them is probably one of the worst moves you could ever make. Because there are expectations of it. Your kills have to be fresh and original, yet give something that reminds you of the original movie. So, in the original Nightmare, it is implied that he molested the children. Which would make him an evil man when he burns, and the way he comes back wanting his vengeance, blah, blah, blah. You can understand that. In the new movie, they come right out and say it. They did bad things to you, but are you sure we just weren't making it up? Well, it's too late to dwell on that now. Well, yeah, my friends are dying. Not only that, you have to, if you remember the original Nightmare, Freddy was not as much as a talkative jokester as he became in the later films. However, new Freddy, talkative, wah, wah, wah. That's all I took away from it. Wah, wah, wah. Oh yeah, I did, thanks to you. Go fuck yourself. You're not nearly as menacing. Robert Englund, at however old he is, outside of makeup, is more intimidating than you in makeup in full combat form. Your remake sucked. I haven't seen the new, I saw a couple of the new Halloween remakes, like the Rob Zombie ones. But remakes in general, especially with horror, is a really bad idea. So, I mentioned all this, and I mentioned It at the very beginning, and there's a reason why I mentioned it. They're remaking it. And it seems like Hollywood's going after Tim Curry's career because they also remade Rocky Horror Picture Show, which was good up until Time Warp, and then sucked the rest of it. The reason that movie was so great is because of Tim Curry. Frankenfurter is his creation. Plus, a transvestite is different than a transsexual or transgendered person, but that's a different tangent for a different time, and I'm sorry I'm rolling my eyes about that. But that said, it probably wouldn't scare me if I watched it as an adult and was reflecting upon it now. But I have, like, core memories that are absolutely terrifying. I will be honest, in the right mindset, I am afraid to take a shower alone. Because even though it was really badly animated, that hello scared the living shit out of me. The werewolf in the house, it was the werewolf in the basement and the mummy in the house. I only recently, and this recent is like in the last 5 years, actually read the book that all the source material came from. But, there is something that bothers me about the new remake, especially when it comes to it. It's tryhard. And if you don't know what tryhard is when you want to be something so bad, you go overboard in attempting to do it. A tryhard skater is going to be that guy who knows every move. You know, I once saw Tony Hawk do a 1080, split on the board, and then land perfectly. Saw it, man. Really did. That type of person. And that's how this movie's coming off to me. It's coming off as tryhard. Well, I don't think we can do anything really original, so what we're going to do is we're going to go with the new horror cliches, and we're just going to blast you with them. First off, Pennywise is not at all terrifying to me. And I've had conversations with people about this in person. And the reason why is because if you see that clown, you're walking the other way. The brilliance of the way Pennywise was in the first movie, was literally, if you went to a circus, you could bump into Pennywise. No one would know the difference. Hey, little kid, come with me. I'm going to show you something special. Literally. If that clown, the new Pennywise, walked up to me on the middle of the street, I'm kicking it in the nuts. I don't care what it says. Foot, groin, on the floor. Done. Because you have these long things that are meant to look menacing, but they end up looking silly. I don't buy that as a real clown that you might see. Now, I could probably go back and look at historical documents and see that, you know what, sometimes clowns did have that weird thing that comes all the way up like this. But still, in the modern era, between like the 90s and 2017, that just is so trying hard to do something that you go right past common sense and you go straight into look at me, I'm being menacing. And it's the same place where the new Nightmare movie failed. You want this movie to be so much like the original. You want it to instill that fear and terror again. But you gotta realize it's not. The problem is, and by the way, I am going to go and see the movie. I am going to watch it. I'm not just going to bitch about it. The problem is that on a whole, it's going to be difficult to impress me about that movie. Tim Curry, was the lifeblood of that movie. I mean, even with John Ritter in it, the person I remember most was Pennywise. When he went terrifying, I was actually afraid. I am not afraid of this new guy. Kick him in the balls and walk away. Done. Oh my God, you're attempting to scare me. No. If I want people to scare me, I will go to the gathering of the Juggalos. And it's not because they in themselves are scary, it's more than that, but it's bad joke, whatever. I don't want to edit this stuff out because I think it takes away from the authenticity. Like I'm some high art maker. But the point is, I don't think the movie's going to be good. Partially because they're going to focus, at least if what I've read is correct, entirely on the children's story. And I don't think that works. If no one had never, ever, ever read the book or had ever, ever seen the original movie, you might have a good chance there. But the problem is, we know what happens. This isn't like going to see the new Power Rangers. It's not like going to see Dredd. We know Dredd's going to come out okay. We know the Power Rangers are going to win. We know that in the new Zelda game, Link will eventually conquer Ganon or whatever the evil malevolent force is in the game. It's the way it works. The problem is, specific to it, though it can be distracting, that flipping back and forth from the children's narrative to the adult's narrative doesn't let you get blindsided by what's going to happen. Because their memories are distorted. So when they win, if they get the funding for it, and they inevitably make the sequel to this, because that's what I've read that they want to do. They want to do the first movie about the children, the second movie about the adults. You know what's going to happen. They're going to come back, they're going to start getting their memories back, and it's rewatching the same fucking movie you just went through. I don't think it's going to be exciting. If not, it's going to be an hour-long movie because they show up, they get together, they realize, oh, we got to go back down there and kill it because no one else really knows about it, or if they know about it, they blissfully ignore it. There's nothing exciting there in the sequel. Now, if you tell it both by the adult narrative and the children's narrative at the same time, you do the same kind of slipping, like if you do the slipping back and forth a lot easier, that would be wonderful, filmmakers. That would be delicious. But the problem is, and I'm going to repeat this over and over again, the problem is, first off, Pennywise isn't scary. 2, we already know what's going to happen. And even if you keep the giant fucking spider, which was in the novel, out in the second movie, you still have to deal with it in the first movie. Unless you're going to let it assume a different shape. Because if you're going to want to do this first part, second part bullshit, you have to go through the ritual of Chud. Set up the expectation. Go through the smokehouse ritual. Do the ritual of Chud. And in the sequel, for the people who haven't read the book, they're going to get to that point and they're going to expect it to work again. Not realizing that the way that the ritual works isn't going to be as effective as when they were children. Are you going to have the actual conversation with the giant turtle? So, that's where we're at. Just a couple of reasons. I know I don't do this really good scripted shit. But, when we take a look at that movie, I think we're going to find that it's not going to be exciting as they want it to be. That there's just enough content there to make a movie just about the children. and getting towards the end. Now, I do want to say something. And if you haven't figured it out, spoilers. One thing that I've read that they're leaving out is the ritualized sex that they have at the end of the children's story. That's a good thing. I understand what it represents as an adult reflecting upon that actual action, and the way that the way King was trying to say that they bonded together, not just in a blood oath, but in an oath where they were together, they were one. However, that being left out, I can completely agree with. What I can't agree with is leaving out big portions of what I fear is going to be left out. If not in the first movie, but definitely in the second one. How I'm afraid they're going that the producers and the directors and the story writers are going to do the same thing they did in the first movie. Oversimplify what it is. And that is a big thing. The way it's described in the book is drinking the fear. Adults have complex fears you can't manifest in a single form. Maybe a spider on the wall will kind of get you jumping. But what terrifies me, what would get my juices flowing like how it would feed, is more complicated than it's really willing to do, because it can feed off of children who's afraid of the boogeyman, who is afraid of the menacing looking clown. Whether it's try hard or not, children don't notice that shit. And I think that's where the movie will fail. I don't know about any of the children actor. I don't know about the adult actors. I don't know anything else about it. I'm trying to keep as open in mind as possible. But I really don't like remakes. I've never come across specifically a horror remake. Horror here. Remake that I enjoyed. Because all of them have either been shot-for-shot remakes where people are trying to reproduce what the original actors and the original directors did. Specifically, Omen and fucking Psycho. Or you have movies that try to take it into a more dark and I'm Batman, Freddy Krueger tone. If they do it right, I will be the first to say, damn. Nice job, directors. Nice job, actors. Nice fucking job, screenwriters. If not, I'm going to be going... It's going to be a very short video for my review of it. It's going to be probably about 3 seconds long. And it's going to be this. Told you so. Turn it right back off. But I want to see it. I'm going to go and see it. It's not like some other remakes that I waited till a year after it came out on DVD to watch, and I still didn't enjoy it. But taking a look back at it, I think what we're going to see is that it's going to fail on all the core things that it needs. All the effects are going to probably be CGI, so they're going to look fake as fuck. Specifically in the bathroom scene. So, in the original movie, there's a bathroom scene where a balloon pops out of the sink, explodes, and blood goes everywhere. Everywhere. I can't remember the name of the girl. I'm going to have to reread the book. But she's Beth. Beth cleans up all the blood. Her father can't see it, and he's like, I worry about you, dear. And so she cleans up the blood. And right after she gets done cleaning it up, another balloon pops. So she invites the boys over. They help clean it up. Her father becomes suspicious about this. And this is a scene that it will probably get cut, or at least the second part of this. Where, effectively, her father is trying to see if she's intact. Because he's afraid she's sleeping around already. Little does he know, but that's beside the point. So, that said, I think scenes like that are going to get cut. Scenes where there's blood is probably definitely going to be CGI. The talking head will probably be CGI. A lot of the clown, a lot of Pennywise, a lot of whatever it is going to take for its final form, the one that is solidified will probably be CGI. Give the original 1980s miniseries shit for it if you want to. For what that spider was, I think it was incredible. Because we're not talking about something that would have been easy to produce. It may have looked cheap. It may have looked cheesy. But credit where credit's due. They tried to make it look terrifying. And that's another example of try hard. But with all that said, it's going to be interesting to see how they do certain things. Are they going to keep that mother-son relationship? I forget which the name of the boys. It's the asthmatic, where it seems like his mother's basically trying to be in a committed relationship with him. It's a really weird way of that it's pictured in the book. Are they going to keep the terrified, I forget which character it was, the terrified guy who kills himself? We have to wait till it comes out. And I want to see it. I want it to be good. I'm going to say that. I want it to be good. Just based off of every other horror remake I've ever seen. It's going to be sloppy. They're probably going to over-characterize the character even further to try and make it scarier, which we've already seen in the way that he's depicted. I just don't see it being good. So, I'm going to sign out here and I'm going to say remakes, don't like them. Nope. So many of those movies are best in their original form, and that includes some of the remakes, like the Vincent Price movie, was that House on Haunted Hill? No, it wasn't House on Haunted Hill, it was something else. They remade it with like, it was T-Pain or something like that. Not T-Pain, can't remember the guy's name. But it's basically the same horror story. Super rich guy invites people up in an attempt to basically kill his wife. and so he ends up dying and find out, oh no, it's an insane asylum, and oh my god, I'm so scared comparatively. Yay. I don't like remakes. The reboots are a little bit different, but flat out remakes of movies and trying to stick with the similar principles just doesn't interest me. They're boring typically, and you may notice I'm avoiding a specific recent movie that was a remake that caught a lot of shit. But there's very few remakes that come out that are actually good. If you consider a Spider-Man, like even from the Tobey Maguire to the Amazing Spider-Man. Now, Amazing Spider-Man isn't technically a remake, but rather its own separate movie, because the Amazing Spider-Man is different than just Spider-Man or Sensational Spider-Man or so forth and so on. But remakes are very hard to do. And normally when they're done right, you don't get the credit that's worth it. But in all reality, as much as I want it to be good, as much as I want to go in there and walk out terrified, I'm probably going to be bored. I probably won't enjoy it. And then everyone's going to be like, oh, Justin, you went in there with that cynical mindset. You thought it was going to be bad, so you got nothing out of it. No. I actually do attempt to keep an open mind when I watch a remake. If not, I couldn't have enjoyed Dread. Although Carl Urban is just a fucking badass, so I could see other things with Carl Urban, but you know, that's just me. Well, I'm going to sign out here. I hope all you guys enjoyed me rambling for however long this video takes. My camera doesn't show it over here. And good night, good day, good morning, whatever, whenever you're watching this, the couple people who actually watch my videos. Deuces.